Been a little while since I've done this.
Hello and welcome back to the Carp Hunters YouTube channel. It's been a very long time, but as you can see I'm in session at last. We're on Stanley Lakes Fisheries at the minute. I'm not sure if I've recorded a video on here before, but here we are. I've got one rod out at the minute. We've got one on a zig, and then behind the camera we've got two rods. Got to put another one on zig and then another one on spinner rig. I've just put the first one on zig out because there's no point in showing two of the same rig, but we'll turn the camera around and then we'll show you what we're fishing with. But it's been a very long time and it's very good to be back, and I'm not sure if you can see down there, but we've got a bit of news as well, so I'll let you know a little bit about that later on in the video. But yeah, let's get fishing.
Join me in front of my old bivvy actually. You might not have seen this on the channel for a little while, but what I'm doing here is I'm prepping my spinner rig. So I've got 4 inches of boom there. I'm just going to change the hook bait, put a fresh one on, because we did actually get here last night, or yesterday should I say, and we started fishing, but I've just been waiting for a couple things to come through before I started recording. So I'm just going to put a brand new hook bait on this. This is the CM1 12mm pop-up from Mistral Baits. They smell like a, it rhymes with vanilla from a very big bait manufacturer, but they smell absolutely amazing. And I've got these in the 12mm. Fish in here go up to sort of about 38 pounds, but you know, there are a lot of sort of late teens, early 20s in here as well, so we're sort of trying to cater for bites, not just the big ones. But you cut yourself a little bit of bait floss. Obviously you've seen this plenty of times. You thread it through the swivel on your hook, get it so it's sort of equal tails each side like that, and then you've got your hook bait on your needle. Push it down and through until you've got your loose tag end, pull that through, and then what you want to do is sew it on the first stop of the swivel, and your hook bead opposite where the barb would be. This is barbless fishery, so obviously we're fishing barbless hooks. We don't break the rules in this swim. Cut a little bit of the bait floss off, like the end of it, just like so. Tap it so you get a nice sort of smooth area. But that is your finished spinner rig. So like I said, it's 4 inches of boom, very short hook length, because there's absolutely no weed in this lake at all, and you sort of want as minimal travel between the hook bait being lifted up and actually hitting the lead. Fishing, the leads go off on the take. Obviously we can't have any death rigs, so if the fish gets weeded up they can escape from that. But that is that bait and that hook bait done, and I think that should catch a carp. Now we've got the spinner rig prepped on my bottom bait rod. Obviously I'm not putting any free food around my zigs. Bait prep time. So what we've got here, we've got the Mistral Baits CM1 in 15mm. These are the shelf life ones, absolutely incredible bait. Family owned, and it's owned locally to me in Northamptonshire, which is why I like them so much. But take a look at these boilies. Look how good they look in there. They look incredible. Tell me that you're not going to catch you a fish. But what we're going to do, we're going to start with the kilo. We're just going to whack most of the bag in there, and then we're going to save maybe a handful or so for the grinder, which is just here. So we're going to grind a couple boilies up to make sort of a crumb out of the CM1. So literally just a handful of boilies, put them in the grinder. You don't need to grind them up too much because they'll become a powder then, literally. But that will do. Just do that a couple of times. Get a handful of boilies, plonk them in, literally 2 turns, and that is pretty much crumb already. Just do that with one more little pile. Don't want too much crumb, but if you're looking at now, that's already looking a lot more interesting. And then we're just going to chuck the rest in here. So that's 1 kilo of boilie, just like that. So that's just perfect, we're ready to go almost as it is. I'd be quite happy chucking that out. I mean that will catch you a fish all day long. But if you want to level it up a little bit, here is where the bait soak syrup comes in. This is like a concentrated liquid form of the CM1. And you really don't need much, not much at all. Just pour a tiny bit into your spoon, maybe like that. And you sort of spread it around, give it a tiny bit more. And that, it gives them a lovely glisten, a lovely shine. Look at that. That is perfect. So what you can do for me, you can put some pellet in, some sweet corn, some other liquids. But I have got a boilie cutter. So what I like to do is grab a handful of them, plonk them in, and then cut. So this won't give you a crumb, this will give you half boilies, but it makes them a lot more absorbent to the liquids. Just do a couple more. Just like that. Just get another few boilies in there. I think that will do for a start. For that, I've got a bit of chopped, a bit of crumb, and a bit of whole boilie in there, all mixed in with the bait syrup, some Mistral baits, and that is absolutely perfect. So that's what I'm going to be putting out on the bottom rod. Don't want to put too much bait out, especially not at the minute, but I think that'll do for a start. Still got another couple kilos with me, and some more bait soap, so we'll see how it goes. But that's a start. I mean, you can even dip your hook bait in that if you wanted to. But that is a start. We're gonna get the rod out now on the RT4. And yeah, hopefully we're gonna catch a fish, because I've got a lot of confidence in that. This is the spinner rig that was just prepped. Like I said, 4 inches of boom. Got a bit of rig putty there just so it's critically balanced. 12mm CM1 pop-up from Mistral Baits. Lead clip leader, and obviously the tail rubber is set so that the rig can drop if a fish gets snagged. But the important bit, and the bit we all love, is this just here. This is how the magic happens, and quite frankly it's my favourite bit of kit. So if we put this in here, if Caravan Jack wants to go and do that. That is how I lay my rig in the boat. But this is the bait that we've just prepped, literally just now on camera. I'm quite happy putting that out right now without letting it soak or anything. I'm going to put maybe half of this out. I don't want to put too much bait out because I did put a lot of bait out on this spot that I'm going to last night. But maybe 2.5 scoops of pure boilie. That's the kind of thing it looks like in the bait boat. You've still got a lot left for rebaiting if the fish decide to play ball. But still already got the spot saved on the boat, on the Carp Jack, sorry. So I literally need to plonk the boat in the water, press the button, and off it goes. Saw fish in that area yesterday, that's why I saved the spot. So hopefully, with a bit of luck and fingers crossed, the fish will be in that area feeding at some point today. I've rested the swim all morning. We've been out, we went to shop, went and picked up some bait from the guys at Mistral. And we're back now. The zig's only been in the water for about 20 minutes. This is going to go in the water now, and then we're going to do the other zig afterwards. So hopefully, through resting the swim, the fish are sort of moved back in with a bit of confidence, and we'll have them. I hope we'll have them. Ready to put the boat in the water now. Bail arm is off. I'm just holding the line with my finger. But drop it in the water. If we just hold the line tight, we can move the boat out. Make sure the line doesn't go too slack, but don't hold it too tight. Right, now it's out there, I can put the rod on the rest. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but that little icon there, that's the boat, and that's a fish spotted spot. I just spelled that wrong. Got a middle spot right as sort of cliff edge there. I've sort of mapped the swim yesterday, so you can see as it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, Got one right on the edge where it gets deep, and one right in the middle of this sort of deep gully here. So that's my thinking anyway. I've already pre-baited these 2 spots last night, so that's what we're going to stick with for now. Middle rod going to the middle spot. Click on it, drive here in trigger action, then come down here. It says hopper no action, hopper open right, because I'm using the right hopper. Okay, approach with stop and drop. Here's your instructions: hopper open right, stop and drop active. Literally, start autopilot. Waypoints are being created, and this will drop it on the money every single time. So that's going to that. This is a very, very cool bit of kit. This is, I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully we'll be able to see a couple fish signatures while recording. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear that, but if you see this line going down here, so you've got this and this line coming down all the way to the bottom, sort of these contours. So that is the rig dropping, and that, sorry, that is the rig dropping because it's straight down, and these are the buoys dropping. It's on the same spot because the boat, it detects the same spot, but it's sort of like a graph thing, so that's how that works. But that's the rig dropped. I know we're on a perfectly gravelly, silty spot just here, no weed, no nothing, so I'm not worried about presentation. I know my rig's critically balanced because I tested it in the margin. But if you look out there to the boat, that is literally how far out we're fishing. It's not far at all, probably a third of the way across the lake, but that's all it takes. And yeah, I could probably cast to that. I could even throw bait to that spot, but the accuracy and the consistency of the bait boat is unmatched in my opinion. And that is it's duty complete for now, because we don't need to take this out again for the zig. I'm just going to cast it out into open water and see what that produces throughout the day. Everyone has seen this a million times before and on this channel, but I'm going to just show you it all again. I'm going to get as straight, tight and as a direct line lay to your rig as possible, obviously, but all without moving your rig, and that is a very, very important part of that. So if you move your rig and you've just plonked a kilo of bait into a spot where you haven't even got a rig, then it's not very productive. So you've got to be very careful with it and sort of tighten the slack up. Like that. From what I've been told, the fish in these waters are very wary of overly tight lines. So we're fishing with semi-slack lines, and then hopefully that'll produce some results, but I'm happy with that rod's placement, where the rig's gone, because I can see where the rig's gone. And now just for the last one for the zig. This is the last rod I'm putting out. This is a quarter adjustable zig, and if the camera can come close to the hook bait, we've got a yellow zigger liner with a black bit of foam on a size 8 mixer hook. Got a bit of PVA tape around the hook link just to stop that from tangling on the cast. A pro tip of this is, even when it's like that, you can possibly have things like that happen. Make sure it's not wrapped around it at all, so you've got a perfect loop just like that. Throughout the last couple of days, there's been a lot of fish showing sort of middle water around here. I'm not too fussed about where this cast goes, particularly. I have got the whole lake to myself pretty much, apart from mate over there. I know it's gone now. Yeah, so I'm just going to get this cast out into open water, and yeah, we're going to try for a bite. Okay, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see very well. Where the hell is my finger? There you go. That is my adjustable zig. That is almost impossible to see when it's anything other than a gin clear pond like it is at the minute. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. But on a windy day, do not lose sight of that. And if you have binoculars, they come very handy, because that is a clear bit of plastic that's about that big that you've got to spot all the way from back here. But luckily it's a very, very beautiful day and I'll be able to sort that out. But I'm going to set the rod on the rest and show you what to do. I've got the slack taken up from the line, but the float is still at the top of the water.
I've got the rod in the rest, how it's going to stay, but now what I need to do is I need to look for this float, and I've spotted it, and I need to take all of the slack away until the float disappears, just like that. The float is now gone, but I can still see my hook bait. Jesus Christ, very still day. Right, and now here is another pro trick for you. Remember the length of your hook link for your zig, because I know from my reel handle, just here, to 3 finger spaces after this, to there, that is the length of my zig. So I can then pick my line up, where it meets my rod, bring that line in, and once my finger reaches the edge of my spool, just like that, I now know that my hook bait is there or thereabouts on the surface of the water. So if I then bring another foot of feet of line in, I'm then fishing a foot underneath the water, another half foot more than that, 1.5 feet under the water. But that is, you know, it's a difference between catching a fish and not catching a fish, because you could be, you know, 6 inches of depth wrong and you won't catch them, because the fish are where they are, and that is something very important to know. And that's another very, very good thing about the bait boat, is it shows me the depths that the signatures are at, and I know from that all of the fish, they're in the sort of the upper third layers of the water. So it's about 9 foot where I'm fishing, so within sort of the first 3 feet of that water column from the surface is where I want to be fishing. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to do 2 feet under the surface. So these are my Kaizen Platinums. These are the 12 foot 3.5 pounders, and they have foot markers just here. So we'll bring in 1 feet. We are now fishing 1 feet under the water. We bring another foot in. We are now fishing 2 feet under the water, and I'm going to make a note of the time and the depth that it is, because it can get quite, you know, lost in your mind sometimes. And then we'll give it a couple of hours, and then we'll, you know, either take it up a foot if it's very sunny, or if the clouds start to come, we can take it down another foot. It's just pissing about with it really throughout the day until we sort of, you know, get results from it. But that is all 3 rods fishing. I need to make sure I set my slow bobbin. Also set my line on my Delkin line clip. Tighten the clutch. We don't want to be fishing with a locked up clutch on an adjustable zig, but it also can't be too loose. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Lovely stuff. So, a quick recap on how I'm fishing. We've got my right hand rod is on a yellow zigger liner, black bit of foam, in 2 feet of water off of the surface. That's my right hand rod. Middle rod we've got on a Mistral Bait CM1 12mm natural pop-up. And then my left hand rod, I didn't show you putting that out, but we will do at some point in the session. It's the exact same setup as the right hand rod, but on this one we've got black foam with a red aligner, so just, you know, a bit of mix of the two. Not putting all my eggs in one basket, but it's like I just said, we can mess about with it throughout the session. We've still got plenty of time here. But these rods, I'm as confident as ever, will bring us a bite. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully I'll see you in a little bit with the fish. Alright, so as you can see, with the weather being as it is, I don't really think it's a great idea having 2 zigs out and just having one on a board maybe. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the left hand rod in, the rod that I put out before I started the video. So then I'll give you a chance to show you putting that rod out, and as well this one is just on the zig, close to the margin. So I literally just picked out when I got back from what I was doing earlier. But so what we're going to do is we're going to reel it in now. As you can see, it is raining, and I'm going to get a rig tied up once I've pulled this in. Not one that I've really used on the channel before, not really one that I use at all anyway, so yeah, I'm going to get that in, and then I'm going to show you what rig I'm going to use. Again, a size 8 mixed hook with a red aligner and black bit of foam. The zig length is that, so it's from the bit of my reel to just there on my foot marker, and then it's just a large quarter adjustable zig. Alright, so I'm going to get this off, get the other zig tied, and then I'll get it back out.
Right, rod is in obviously, and I am just soaking the new rig in the CM1 bait soak syrup. So here I've got a 3.5 ounce lead on a heli-safe system, bead about that far up, and there's no weed here really at all. Obviously bead can come off if the fish gets snagged, and then it can escape the lead. Here we've got, just here we've got about 5 inches of boom. I just need to straighten this out a little bit before I put it out. Going onto a loop section, this is just a braid material, and then we've got a claw hook just here in a size 4, and this is what you call a loops and booms rig. Then here, this hook bait is literally just one of the baits that I've taken out of this bucket. Put a little bit of cork in it to give it a little critical balance. So I'm going to test it in the margin, and hopefully, if that works, that will give us a chance of getting a bite. Right, okay, so before I put the rods out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to map this left half of my swim. So if you look from that swim there to that swim there, you see that big sort of like bush area with no swims on it. I can fish with my left hand rod sort of from the left hand third of that bush all the way to sort of probably that second swim over there, unless someone comes next to me, of course. So what I'm going to do, I'm just letting the hook bait soak in that, and I'm just going to get the bait boat to map the entire swim. If you look, my boat is just here, and what I've done is I've done a waypoint, so that's the left hand third of that bush over there. If we just focus on that, that's that sort of anything left of this area to sort of over there translates to areas over here. So that's that swimming next to the bushes, and then the far one left of that. And then what this will do is this will map this entire area, and I'm going to record it so that I can put a depth map on this side of my swim as well, to sort of then get a better gauge of it. But that's what that's going to do. What it looks like in real life is all there, everything from over there to over there. That is the boat coming back, and you can see the boat there. And if we look on the sonar, all these are little fish. So something like that is a fish. So the deeper orange, the signature, the bigger and more significant the object. Something like this I wouldn't necessarily look too close at, but these kind of things you'd definitely be looking for. And that is only just there. So 9 minutes left on the autopilot. We're also recording this. If we go back on the map, you get a flashing recording symbol, and then I'll be able to embed all of what this is done. It will look exactly like that, but it will just cover this side of it as well, and it will join up to make a nice, neat sort of whole area. Right, okay, so you can see the ripples from that just there. That was a fish. So I was going to get the camera out anyway. Finished mapping the swim, and that's where we fished last time. I was here recently, but I didn't record that. But that just showed right in the middle of the deep water. So done a little bit of messing about with the settings and what have you, and there's a lot more information present now. So you can see it's like a deep bowl all in the middle around here, and that fish just showed sort of round here. I haven't mapped that bit out yet, but it was in front of this swim, so it's round there. That fish just showed. Just seen that fish splash. I'm not going to waste any more time, but this hook bait is going to soak in the bait syrup for a nice few minutes. I mean, look at that, it's just oozing with goodness. I'm sure Mr. Carp over there is going to love it. So, put it down carefully, and then put it in the back of the hopper. Make sure the bead isn't in the hopper as well, because it will pull the bead off when you're taking the boat out, and then you won't have any lead resistance on the bite. So, well, that's what beautiful that does. That's that in. Make sure everything's straight and whatnot. that. I'm gonna whack the rest of this 1 kg I prepped earlier out, and then I'll get another batch prepped later on. That just been soaking in all that goodness. Beautiful. Right, let's get all of that. So we are quite literally matching the hatch for this. Yeah, plenty of bait. I mean, you can't even tell which one's the bait. It's just. So that is everything loaded into the bait boat. I'm just going to put this away and I'll show you what we are doing on the tablet. That fish showing in the middle is actually really handy because I have my right hand rod, my bottom bait rod, right in really close, and that is fishing at 8 foot, and that fish is just showing about 9.2 feet, so that might tell me a little something. So I'm going to put this in the middle. That one's right, almost in the margin, very close in. You saw me put that one out earlier. We'll leave the zig on the zig for the moment, but I'm just taking this out to exactly where that fish shows. What I'm going to do is, now the boat's where I want it to be, I'm just going to tighten my line up to it quickly. Let the bail line go. About where that fish goes. So I'm going to play the spot as left the rod, because that is now a baited spot, and if that works out, I want to be able to put more bait out and go there consistently. Right, and then we're going to tap on left rod, drive here, trigger action, open the right topper because that's where the bait is in, approach the stop and drop, start autopilot, and I'll take us to the exact spot where I saw that fish. Let's just start it now. Sorry, I'll line up again. Right. Lovely stuff, that is now out. We get the rod set and we are fishing with 3 rods again. So hopefully I'll see you in a bit with a fish. Well, quite the change an hour or so can do to the weather. And when I brought that zig in earlier, it was absolutely pissing it down, but now, oh, beautiful. But we've just eaten dinner. Now we're gonna get a TikTok live stream going. I will link my TikTok down below if you want to ever catch one of these lives, ask some questions, chill out, whatever. You're more than welcome to do so, but look at that view. Beautiful. Summer is round the corner. Freshly spooled reels. Good old Piggy for good luck. And yeah, come on the carp. So I did also just want to speak about this. This isn't random, because I'm sure you might have seen this earlier in the clip. This is my spare landing net pole. I haven't got any bangs, I think it's long enough to sort of like come up to either here and go enough into the ground. But as you can see, my right hand rod and probably my middle rod as well, if I get a fish, all they need to do is kite anywhere over that way, and my line would be shredded against that wood. But with a landing net handle there, the line will sort of go tight against that and then wrap and then can kite to the right, and it'll have something smooth to brush against instead of the horrible wood. Well, while the sun is still out, I thought I might as well harness the power of it. This is my Anchor solar power. I appreciate you really don't need this for everyday sessions like overnighters, but we're here for 3 nights, there's 2 of us, and we're doing a lot of recording with live streaming and whatnot. But this is charging this Anchor power station. I think this is a 535, and yeah, it's 66 watts at the minute. I think it's a 100-watt solar panel, but it's a very, very handy bit of kit. I mean, because as long as it's sunny, I should never really have to worry about power. But I mean, look at that evening, it's just beautiful. It screams a lovely big carp.
Right, so unfortunately, due to, you can see the not very carpy attire across the lake, someone's gone into the swim right where my middle rod was. It's not by water, so I can't complain, so that's obviously why I'm moving rods before he puts his rod out. But that gives me a chance to finally put the middle rod back onto the baited spot from yesterday and the day before that. So we had no rods on it from last night up until now. So fingers crossed, resting the swim a little bit, let the fish feed on what bait's remaining without any lines in the water would have done a little bit of justice for it. Well, if you could smell what I can smell success. It is, if you turn the camera to look at the lake quickly, the sun is literally only just rising, but I have a fish in the sling, very, very solid mid-20, put up one hell of a fight as well, absolutely one hell of a fight. Took every single one of my rods out, and yeah, I literally just redone the rods. I've just pub chucked every single one of them out until later on today, where I'll think about possibly putting them back on the spot. Depends how long I feel like stopping here for. But the net is wet, the sling is in the water. I'm just going to wait for the sun to rise a little bit more, get some natural light, and then we'll show the camera the fruits of our labours. Right, okay. Been a little while since I've done this. Look at that. Is the fruit of my labour. Lovely dark common. Look at that. Beautiful. Right, been out long enough. Let's get him back in the water. So now I've let the fish go. What a beautiful dark common, by the way. I thought I'd show you what I got it on, and empty packet because I'm pretty much using one bait now. But we got the fish, Mistral Baits CM1 50mm boilies. Absolutely incredible bait this is. All the while it was glugging in the CM1 bait soak syrup. Now this is like, I can't explain how this smells. It's just, it smells so beautiful and sweet, and it's really thick as well. But that's what I got it on. I have absolute confidence in that bait now. I already did before, but that's just, you know, trusted that even more. And I am also sponsored by Mistral now as well, so we'll be seeing exclusively Mistral baits on the channel from now on. Mistral hook baits, Mistral baits, and everything like that. So it's an honour to be sponsored by Mistral Baits. I'm based in Northamptonshire, where we're fishing in Northamptonshire, and so is Mistral Baits. They're based in Northamptonshire as well, in Wellingborough, so that's always a good thing. But literally, I had the rod chucked out in the middle of the lake, pre-baited spot I've been baiting since we got here. I had 3 on the spot last night. I got the fish, the run, and it took all 3 of my rods out, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, the Mistral Baits doing the work, absolutely beautiful bait. And hopefully we've got time for a couple more before the session ends, but we're going to be packing down in the next hour and a half or so. Well, that brings an end to the first video back. It's my second session here in 2 weeks. Went over there the first time, didn't catch anything, I didn't record it, just wanted to get back into the feel of it. But first session we recorded back, and we've had a fish as well, you can't complain. But it's a beautiful, beautiful day, bit of cloud cover. But yeah, we're going to start to have a pack down now. We're going to take the rods in last, but unless we have a fish between now and pack down, this is the last you'll see from me for this video. It's been a pleasure, it's been lovely back fishing, and yeah, super pleased we've had one. But until next time, I'll catch you all later. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in a bit.